Hello everyone, this is Ron from High Tech Legion, and this is the third episode of In the Game. This will be slightly different today compared to the previous two episodes. It is a little bit lighter. As you might have noticed, it is only me today. Eric is not here. He is denying all allegations, and if the case does go to court, he will plead not guilty. So hopefully he'll be back next week so I don't have to talk shit about him. Well, anyway, we probably won't have a top 5. I'm not going to do a top 5 this week just because, well, it's kind of weird me counting down 5. It sounds like, well, I already sound crazy talking by myself in front of a camera. But I guess, of course, I'm talking to you guys, so it's not really that crazy. And we are going to be talking about gaming news. There's plenty of news to talk about, especially with the big releases coming out. And also I will answer some questions. There were some comments left on the previous video. Thanks a lot for that. There's also a couple of questions sent to us, and we will go do that right now. And first question with the Q&A. We get a lot of mostly the same questions, but phrased differently. For example, this one we have about grounding. We get this one often, especially in our case reviews. This one is from Epsilon Trio. What could I ground myself to for installing a new PSU to this case? I believe this was a NZXT Phantom 410 case, which is actually, I'm wearing a shirt. I just realized that I'm wearing an NZXT shirt. You can see that case there, in case you're not familiar with what it looks like. And the problem is that there are a couple of things when it comes to grounding a case yourself, especially static electricity. When it concerns static electricity, is that a lot of cases now don't have any exposed metal parts that you can ground yourself to. And people have been asking another type of questions similar to this one, is that where do I ground myself on this case, stuff like that. Answer is you don't really need to ground yourself on the actual case itself. You have plenty of other ways to minimize static electricity. That's actually much more preferable, especially in the DIY market. I mean, the manufacturers know that most people will not be installing their video cards or setting up their system while inside clean labs with moisture control and all of that. Of course, you have to do a couple of precautions, of course, that you can do even without any expensive equipment. For example, something like this one. Let me just grab it here. This is an anti-static ESD strap. You can see there. Of course, you attach this to any grounding surface, and you basically just wear it on your wrist or any appendage. Well, not any, of course, as long as it makes contact. And that will, of course, allow you to discharge while you're working. This is around depending on your area, it's probably around $5.99 US to $7.99. Most expensive probably 10, but you don't really need anything more. They have a standard for that anyway, so it should work. And also, a couple of precautions. You have to have the environment you're working on. If it is too dry, what would happen is that buildup of static electricity is higher in that area, especially if you live in desert environments. Maybe you live in Las Vegas or California, western area, where the humidity is different compared to like say Florida, where there's a lot more moisture in the air. You could have a humidifier, of course. Of course, you don't want too much humidity in the air anyway, because of course the opposite of that is corrosion. There's a lot more corrosion, and that could damage your system as well. But of course, these are very minuscule. Again, as I mentioned, I mean, do you really think that as a manufacturer, Asus, Gigabyte, all these video card motherboard manufacturers don't account for the DIY market? Of course, they know that most people do not install in a clean environment. They don't not install in a self-contained environment. Also, the fact that I believe this is a little bit overblown, especially around is for most DIY circles, especially if you see in forums, people are always talking about the truth is, yes, you can, but as I mentioned, regular precautions. Just, of course, don't rub yourself with balloon, and don't wear a sweater, and don't wear socks and run on a carpet and then touch your motherboard immediately. Obviously, that is gonna cause static electricity. Just simple precautions. Wear something light. Don't read. There's various surfaces which can increase static electricity. Without going into too much detail, because I know this is going to bore you if I go into detail when it comes to electronic theory and stuff like that. You can take precautions. Work on a hardwood floor or a wooden floor or a wooden table, if possible. If you're in a carpet, make sure to discharge. Those are pretty much it. And I know there are some people who have commented in our unboxing videos that we don't wear wrist strap and that we're idiots for doing so. We're damaging it. Relax, buddy. We're not. This isn't. It's not like we do one video card a year. We do a lot, and just how many people are there that actually install video cards that don't get that? Of course, there can be minuscule damage where you don't really see it. It could minimize the lifespan of your electronic equipment. You don't really see it by testing it immediately, but it could happen. But of course, there's also you have to factor in the fact that just certain amount of video cards and other electronic equipments just just have that lifespan, or just are defective in a certain sort of way, just out of the factory. So that is I'd love to see the math in that, like by factor of what can you compare. Can you ignore the amount of electricity that is just taken on that electronic equipment takes from the moment you take it out of the box and before you use it? So that's pretty much it. Again, control the environment if possible. Not too dry, so have a little bit moisture in your environment. If you don't put it directly on a don't wear socks, obviously, when you're working, and run on a carpet and touch it. Don't rub yourself with a balloon. Basic things. It's not... static electricity does not build up that much, but you have to discharge on a metal surface. That's it. It doesn't have to be the case. It doesn't have to be... it doesn't have to be a part of the case you're working on. You just have to discharge it while you're working, before you work, or before you touch it. So... that answers that question. And we also get a lot of questions about whether can this video card so and so run this type of game. Now, we can answer that typically. If you click on the link in the more info, you will find the benchmarks of this particular of that particular video card you're watching, and over your video, and you will see how it performs. What notice is that a lot of people are asking these questions and not clicking on it, even though it is answered in the video itself. So please do yourself that favor. Just watch the video or click on that, and if it isn't there, we will answer it. Also, if you want more specific answer for that, you have to mention two things, because there are various changes. Of course, the resolution, that matters a lot. Whether you're playing in 720p or 1080p, some people tell me, you say that I can't play Battlefield 3 on a 550 Ti, for example, on Ultra, but I've been playing it. Some guy told me that, but of course, he didn't mention that the HD resolution he's playing at is 1920 by 1280 by 720. Which is, of course, a lot smaller than 1920 by 1080p. Of course, at that resolution, you're pulling a lot more pixels on the screen, so you are not rendering as much, and the video card can obviously handle that. Actually, right now, the 600 series from NVIDIA can handle from 650 Ti 1080p resolution upwards, unlike the 550 Ti, so you should be good with that. Also, I'm not sure, I think the AMD from the 7850 series onward can handle 1080p without a problem. Most games. There are only very few games where 1080p gaming is not recommended. Of course, they are either optimized horribly. Crysis comes to mind. Crysis, Metro, those are just... There's no reason why those games are still barely playable on very high. If you have a 580 SLI and a 3960X, I have a system like that, and it really pisses me off whenever that happens. That, and I look at the MSI Afterburner. The GPU usage it's basically it says 60%, and that pisses me off. I mean, compared to other games, when you see optimized games, you can see 100% GPU usage, or it can actually use the multi-core CPUs properly. Those are, of course, very, very well optimized games. Again, if you are going to ask us questions about whether this video card can run this particular game, don't forget to mention the resolution you're playing at, of course, the monitor. Find out what resolution you're playing at and what setting, whether medium, high, or ultra, whatever. Just mention those whenever you are asking, and we will answer those questions for you. And that will pretty much cover our Q&A so far. We have some comments from some people on the. Let me just read that to you on the video last week. The episode we asked you for for sign-offs. Of course, I don't have anything good yet. I'm gonna come up with it with Eric, so we'll discuss that later next week. Again, thanks for comments. Keep on commenting in the through email or in the YouTube comment below, or even leave us a comment on Facebook. And now we are going to do some gaming news this week. There are, of course, I forgot to discuss this last week. I wanted to discuss this. This was actually a pretty cool thing from AMD. This is called the AMD Never Settle Bundle. And this is basically a discount bundled if you buy a 700 series video card from 7770 gigahertz edition all the way through the higher end 7900 series. You basically get 20% off Medal of Honor Warfighter across the board on all video cards between 7770 all the way to 7900 series. But also you get a free download for Far Cry 3, which I believe is coming out somewhere around December 24. I know it's always the same. I believe the PC and I don't even know if they have a console port for this game, but they are coming out around first week of December, if I recall correctly. So you will get a download code for that, and also if you buy a pair of 7770, you also get that. Again, across the board, Far Cry 3 free and 20% off Medal of Honor Warfighter. You also get Hitman, the latest Hitman game, if you buy a pair of 7770, if you buy a pair of 7800 series video cards, and if you buy a single 7900 series video card. Also, if you buy a 7900 series video card, on top of all that, you get Hitman, you get Far Cry 3 full and 20% off Medal of Honor Warfighter. You get Sleeping Dogs for free. So that is basically a very generous gaming bundle for AMD. They're calling it AMD Never Settle Bundle. So that should be a very good deal. Now I've noticed some people asking questions that they believe this was just brand specific, because I saw an XFX poster which is basically just says XFX bundle, but this is in fact AMD wide. So any AMD video card you buy, you will get this exclusive bundle for those games. So that's very good. I love free games, because I mean, games are pretty expensive. In fact, I don't since I bought Dishonored last week, I don't have the budget to buy the latest releases this week or next week. So I will have to wait for Christmas sale for those. But I mean, even though it was a short game, I have to support Bethesda as a publisher. Because I mean, Fallout 3 alone, I believe I don't think I can pay enough for that game, just the amount of replayability that has given me. So anyway, big news this week. This is not directly gaming related, but of course, if you're aware in the entertainment industry or in the gaming industry, kind of interchangeable. Disney buys LucasArts, which of course owns Star Wars franchise, and they are going to be making Star Wars movies. So that is great in a couple of things. My mind is already going to different ideas. Of course, that means that automatically the Star Wars movies will be better than the first three, the last three that Lucas made. Of course, I don't know. I actually liked Phantom Menace. Maybe because I watched it when I was younger. Well, I can't believe that was almost 12 years ago now. But I I didn't have that much as much higher expectation as the people who kind of saw the original back in the 80s. So, but I like that one despite of it all. But the second and third one were definitely horrible movies. It was just the ridiculous part where this Yoda was jumping around two other old guys, Samuel Jackson and Christopher Lee and Senator Palpatine were just jumping around whenever their backs were turned. It was just ridiculous. That part was just no. So hopefully Disney, obviously Disney will do a lot better. Just because, I mean, let's face it, this was George Lucas, and whenever a guy or anybody gets to that level where nobody can tell them no, nobody can tell them that no, the idea is guy's fucking stupid, then of course you're gonna spin out. Look what happened to him, like Michael Jackson. Nobody could. I mean, his ideas were pretty stupid at that point. He wanted to build a statue out in Las Vegas, and nobody could tell him no. He wanted to shoot up drugs, and nobody could tell him no. So that, I mean, Elvis, the same thing. So this is good. Well, yeah, Lucas is a big name. I'm not saying he's exactly like Elvis or Michael Jackson, but he is a pretty big figure in geekdom, of course. Also, how is this related for gaming? This is what, I mean, at this point, Disney owns Marvel. Disney owns Star Wars. And what I am not seeing is, why are they not releasing enough games? I mean, they have a lot of intellectual property at this point. I have played several of the Marvel games, and they were pretty disappointing. The problem is that they make these games and then they have to rush it for release to coincide with the movie release. But the problem is, of course, I mean, if you rush a project, it's not going to be as good as a game. I remember I had, what was that game? Wolverine. It was a decent game, but it was annoying because if you're playing a PC, you can't invert the mouse, and I always invert my mouse. It's much more instinctual for me rather than not playing. Although I have been practicing not inverting the mouse, just because we run a shared Steam account for testing video games here in High Tech Legion, and they get pissed at me since I set the mouse invert option, and then I leave it there, and they can't play. Okay, I can see that going to options and disabling that can be annoying, I guess. Takes 2 seconds. But yeah, no problem with me. No sweat off. I can adapt. That's what you should do as a gamer anyway. You should adapt. And again, let's go back to the topic. Disney game titles, they have plenty of now they can make Star Wars games. I mean, they have plenty of titles they can milk money from, not just for movies. And there should really be more video games, Star Wars games, because the problem is I believe we discussed this in the first episode, actually, that the Star Wars video games was that Lucas was too much into it. He was controlling it too much, and that a lot of kind of cool ideas people have, they weren't able to execute through the games or through other media that are Star Wars. The topic is Star Wars. Because Lucas didn't want it. I know a couple of fan videos of Lucas even blocked a couple of those because he didn't like how it portrayed Star Wars. So that's a good thing that Disney has control of that now, and hopefully we'll see more games of that. Also, more Marvel games, hopefully that are actually good, not just look good in screenshots, but actually are worthy games. And also, next bit of news here. This is, we discussed, not really discussed, but Hawken, we are actually giving away. We have 1,000 beta keys. I've given away about 200 so far, so there's plenty of key codes left. I will be giving this away all the way until the beta ends, so you can keep sending your email at game@hightechlegion.com. At this point, I don't even care if you are in our Facebook. If you have a friend that needs a key, make him send an email. Don't send an email for him because it's hard for me to. I do it manually. It's not automated, so I have to look at each email sender and I reply to that email instead of copying and pasting. It adds, 1 second added if you're working over 100 emails, and sorting through them. it gets pretty tedious. So please, if you have a friend who wants a key code, it doesn't need to be you don't even need to be our Facebook friend or like our page. You just have to send an email to game@hightechlegion. Have your friend send an email to game@hightechlegion with a, of course, put your thing in there that you want the Hawken key code, and it doesn't have to be. I don't need your Facebook ID. I don't need you to like the Facebook page. You just need to send an email at game@hightechlegion. We have plenty of key codes courtesy of Mushkin to give away for the beta. This is a very fun game. This was actually going to be a free-to-play game, but I believe it's coming out somewhere around December or January, something like that. But with a beta, of course, the good thing about beta is that you can get a jump, especially on your other opponents, especially in a game like this one where it is a multiplayer type game where you can, before the game even comes out, you already know the tips and tricks. You already know the map. That is, of course, one big thing is that you have to know the layout of the map. That will give you a huge advantage whenever you're playing. Also, you get used to the controls. You get used to piloting the mech, and also get used to the different weapons and different classes. So definitely come play the beta with us. I will be recording a live video review of that. I will be recording my gameplay while I talk through my headset, and of course there will be a couple of HTL members in there playing. All our staff will be playing, although we have to arrange that time period, and we will let you know in our Facebook page when that will be available, when we'll be playing. Also, the instructions on how to redeem this code are in our Facebook page at facebook.com/HTL reviews, so you can see it there. You don't need to like us, or again, you don't need to like us or befriend us. You just need to click. Of course, it doesn't help, but of course, it doesn't hurt. So if you'd like to, we appreciate it. And you just send an email to game@hightechlegion.com. That's GAME@hightechlegion.com, and maybe just put in Hawken in the title. That's it, and I'll send it to you automatically. And we'll see you in the battlefield on, I believe, November 8th is the first one. So that is 2 more days to go. You can, I don't know if the beta is up for download yet, but you go to Hawken's official page to find if the beta, once you create an account there, you will see if the beta is available for download. And a couple of big releases, as I mentioned this week, well, not this week, but the following weeks. Biggest things, of course, is Assassin's Creed 3. It already came out on console, I believe, Halloween, because I saw a couple of posts in there on Facebook. But they have, for the PC, I believe, November 20th, North American release, 22 Europe, and UK 23. I don't know why UK had 23. Yeah, they had to cross the channel. They one extra day, so I guess they'll be playing it last. But Assassin's Creed 3. Oh, I don't know why I'm tripping. Anyway, Assassin's Creed 3, as we discussed in the last episode, this is not exactly the 3rd episode, but I believe the 5th Assassin's Creed 3 already. There is Brotherhood, and there's another one that I actually have all those games. I've still yet to play them. I can't seem to find the time, but I will definitely play those before I play this one. Which is, of course, another excuse since I don't have money to buy this one yet. I mean, $60 per game is pretty expensive. So hopefully by Christmas this goes on sale. And Black Ops 2 is coming out. Of course, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. So all the irresponsible mothers are probably pre-ordering this or lining this up now so they can impress their kid and contribute to the not having male influence on their lives and ruin their lives further, and so their kids can be annoying. But all right, I'm rambling now. It looks like a good game, although there was news that they're limiting the FOV, the field of view, to 85, which of course that translates to some people getting motion sickness, and it only happens in some people. I have not myself. I don't really adjust the FOV as much. I leave it at default. But for some reason, there are some games. Maybe I should try it out. But there are some games and some game engines where I definitely feel motion sickness, especially older games, Quake 3 engine, Quake 2 engine, but Source engines a little bit, but Call of Duty engine, which is maybe modified Quake 3 engine, And Battlefield 3, first-person shooter games. I mean, Skyrim, I never really felt any motion sickness on those games, especially even if they go fast. But of course, some people are, because depends on your vision. Of course, even some people can't even use 3D vision, just because they have physically their left eye is not in sync with their right eye. I believe their kind of depth perception is wonky, or just genetically like that. So that is understandable. But of course, for the PC, there really is no reason why you can't adjust FOV. I don't know why they're limiting this. It is one of those things that are really annoying, especially for us PC gamers, since we kind of expect some level of customizability, especially since we can access maybe the INI files or stuff like that, unlike console gamers. I don't know why they're limiting that. Also, another thing that kind of annoys me is the frame rate locking. A lot more games, especially this year compared to previous years, have the frame rate lock, and it's really annoying. And people say that it is for the frame smoothing, so that it doesn't skip too much, for the experience, for the benefit of the gamer. But of course, just provide the option. I mean, we can always turn it on and off. I don't understand why the option is not provided. It's one thing to think about the gamers, but to actually limit options and then pretend that you're doing it for us. I mean, it's pretty stupid not to provide options when you can. That's kind of the point of having the option setting there. It's why shouldn't you provide an option? Does it really destroy the game? And if it does, then maybe time for your development team to, get a little bit better coding, get some skills. I don't know, maybe it's time to improve that game engine. I mean, maybe it's easy for me to say just because I'm a consumer and I don't program the games, but there are plenty of games out there where this isn't an issue. And as a reviewer, it is really annoying when I have to go through 5 different INI files and still doesn't save, and have to override. It overrides on NVIDIA, but it doesn't override on AMD and things like that. It's just so much waste of time, and it is just really annoying. Again, FOV. This one, of course, I was talking about VSync, but of course this is now FOV. Just provide the option, whether it's VSync, FOV, any other option. And as I mentioned last week, I like the fact that in Dishonored, you can disable every single item on the HUD, so you can actually feel totally immersed. That is good. Hopefully more games do that. Provide a lot more option and customizability for gamers. I mean, not just for PC gamers, but just for gamers all around. I mean, we pay for this game, so we didn't buy a movie. We bought a game, so we want experience. We want customizability. We want replayability. Especially if you want replayability, you want this game to last. Provide options for gamers. And that pretty much, I think I ran out of news this week. It was pretty quick. We do 30 minutes of news, 30 minutes of Q&A, and then 30 minutes of top 5. But since I'm the only one this week, we don't have a top 5. So maybe I can do an impromptu one. Top 5, top 5 trends in PC games that annoy me, or video games. Let's do a quick top 5. Top 5 trends that annoy me. Irresponsible parents ruining it for everyone else, buying mature games for kids. Video game on rails. Now, if you're not familiar with the games, of course, how can you not be? But Call of Duty basically popularized this, where it is cinematic, where the game is on the rails. No matter what you do, it will move forward. Well, the narrative is... It's not bad if the narrative is good, if the storyline is good. But for the most part, I mean, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, the writing was stupid. I mean, it was really bad. So right now, Black Ops 2, I believe, was written by David Goyer, who wrote some of the more popular action movies. So let's see how well that does. And I mean, he's I don't know how that's going to translate on the video game platform, but I mean, he's a good. I don't know if he. No, I don't think he directed. I don't think he wrote Die Hard, but he wrote. I think some of the Blade movies, some of the more popular action movies, but He's a poor director though, because I know he directed Street Fighter the movie, so that was horrible. That was his directorial debut, I believe. So let's see how well that translates. But just that, games on rails, those are two most popular type games on rails, and basically sandbox games where you can roam. And obviously sandbox games give you plenty of replayability. But the problem is with rail games is that they don't they rely too much on the story rather than the gameplay experience. It's interesting enough if you kind of don't take away a lot of the gameplay elements in there. They just provide a little bit of option. I know in Modern Warfare 2 there are certain paths that you can take. You don't need to go through just one certain path, but it is annoying when your view is very limited. And this leads me to my third most annoying trends in gaming is I call this a Dora Explorer syndrome, where if you have any kids, I don't have any kids, but I'm aware of this, where Dora Explorer is basically, when you watch Dora the Explorer, she will ask you these questions where it's like, where is this? Where is item A or whatever? And then she'll wait a few beats and then she says, yes. Which of course is stupid, because even what if your kid got the answer wrong? Then you're just basically telling your kid that even if their answer is wrong, they're right. So that's a stupid lesson. And that's what I call this in PC gaming. There is this something called where I call this Dora Explorer syndrome, because there are scenes where it will tell you on the screen, press right click, press left click, press left click, press right click, press spacebar, and big flashing letters, and it's like right in the middle of the screen, and it's 1A. It takes away the immersiveness of the gameplay. Of course, when there's a big flashing, you're in the middle of a firefight, and suddenly big sign that says press X or press spacebar, and some games, again, let me reference Modern Warfare 2 again. In the scene where you take off in the jet, it says press the right mouse button to fly off, and even if you don't, it will still fly off. I don't know if they patched that now, and that's one of those just really stupid things. Like, why provide that option if there wasn't any option again to begin with? And it goes back again to the original point I was making. Options. Provide it for your gamers. That is gaming. It's interactive. If it's not interactive, if it's just to the point of some nursery level bullshit where you just click the right mouse button at this time, well, it gives you so much time to press the right click and the left click button too. It's not a matter of timing. I mean, remember when you were a kid and you're playing Nintendo and you have to time things properly to jump out? I mean, there are some challenges in it. If there's no challenge, what's the point? You know, even if it's a single player, that's what happens, is that they would just focus on multiplayer and say, oh, single players, don't worry if it's shit, since most people will play it multiplayer. I know Battlefield 3 was DICE, and Battlefield 3 was kind of guilty of this. They didn't really care about single player. It was generic storyline. I mean, why don't you just make a good game all around? I don't know why that is so difficult. Or that, I mean, as an artist, if you are making something, wouldn't you want to have that kind of integrity? Just that you are proud of it all around, not just one aspect of it, but most of it. And this won't be a top 5 if I can think of 2 more things that annoy me. 2, I don't know. The price, maybe. The price of video games is really, at this point, I don't know why, but sometimes the PC gamers, I don't know, I haven't noticed I don't own a console, if the price of console versus PC is the same, but what happens is it's still $60 for a full game, or $69 for a full game, and what happens is that game is designed to rely on DLCs. I mean, some games are pretty replayable, such as Skyrim by itself. But, I mean, even without DLCs, that game is pretty good. And if you buy DLCs, it's justified since you've already played so much hours on it. But some games just kind of don't justify the DLC, since what they do is they have the full game. It feels like they chop it up in multiple pieces and feed it to you piece by piece instead of actually adding content into it. That's the point. DLC, the downloadable content, is an add-on, but what they do is take away parts from it, and I know the Street Fighter games were kind of like this. They take away characters that are already on the disc, and you have to unlock them. You have to pay to unlock. I know. I don't know if it's the same in the latest. What's the latest Capcom game? I don't know if it's in the PCs. That's why I'm not following anymore. But I believe Capcom versus Tecmo or Tekken. I don't know if they still have that, but previous Capcom games they would do that. It's already on the disc. That is the most annoying thing, and they're not the only ones who are guilty of this. A couple of developers do this as well. They it's already on the disc, and they want you to pay for what is on there, and so that is. I mean, that's just malicious intent that they already want to milk you what is you already paid for, and they just took away what was in there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe it's the lawyers, or they want more money, but it's kind of it's kind of kicking the balls if you are a gamer if they do that, especially if they openly admit to doing that. And number one. I don't know what my number one is, but since there's an impromptu top 5, but number one most annoying thing as a PC gamer is maybe unoptimized game. That will be my number one. Unoptimized game. There are some games, of course, as I mentioned earlier, just annoyingly unoptimized for the games, and some, of course, are NVIDIA optimized or AMD optimized for some reason. If it's an AMD title and you play it on NVIDIA, the gameplay is severely disproportionate. Or if you play it in NVIDIA, if you're playing it's an NVIDIA title and you play it on an AMD card, and the performance is disproportionate compared to if you're playing it at 6990 and you can't play it in playable frame rates, and you're playing it on a NVIDIA card that's only 660 Ti. It doesn't make sense. Or if you're playing Sleeping Dogs was like that. I haven't reinstalled Sleeping Dogs and tried it, but it was slow on my 580 for some reason. There's no reason why that game should be slow on a 580. So I'm gonna try it again. Maybe they had another patch that came out. Obviously, some of it is driver optimized. Some of it is a little bit. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm not gonna say sabotage because I'm not looking into the code itself. But I mean, can you blame various fanboys making speculations about these type of things happening in games? Obviously, it doesn't seem to be as bad now as it was earlier, about 2 years ago. There was that whole big Batman debacle, and they were arguing back and forth. And I'm not really either on one side. But obviously, NVIDIA has a bigger driver team than AMD, and AMD itself needs to kind of step up on that. I know they launched their game.amd.com, so that's a good thing that they're actually involved in that almost the same capacity in that they are going to. But of course, NVIDIA is very dedicated. They have been doing it for a while. So AMD needs to step up. They need to hire bigger driver team. That's just it. And I don't know how big the driver team is now, but I mean it shows. They have definitely improved a lot. Some of the criticisms are fair, some are not, and I know people like to kind of portray NVIDIA as this big bad that kind of forces reviewers to do certain things. I can't show you the reviewer's guide, but it's not there. It's not there at all. There's no conspiracy. They don't force people to do things. It's actually pretty fair. The same with the AMD reviewer's guide. They don't tell you to do anything you don't want to do. It is always up to the reviewers to do the specific tests. And they also, I can't show this to you, but you can Google it on because of course due to NDA, and I'm not supposed to show the actual reviewer's guide, but you can just go to Google and type the reviewer's guide for a specific video card, and you will probably find it. I know a lot of European websites kind of don't respect the law, and they kind of just keep on violating NDAs and keep on violating all these laws that are, of course, hurting U.S. sites or North American sites. But I guess it's for them. I guess there's no law in their country, so they can do these. But again, if you want to see those, just go Google it. You can see it for yourself. There's nothing in there where AMD tells the reviewer to do this specifically and do this, or NVIDIA doesn't do the same thing. So just there's no conspiracy. So all the AMD or NVIDIA fanboys out there, there's no conspiracy happening between whenever they give on those reviewers guide. What usually happens is that they would one site doesn't get seeded a particular thing, maybe some snafu happens or some whatnot, they violate their NDA, and then they will usually take to social media and say, oh, they're singling us out because we're telling the truth, they can't handle the truth, we're just doing, they're not seeding us. Of course, that's bullshit. These are handled mostly by PR people. All they want is that they want word out there for the product they're representing, AMD, or they're representing AMD or representing NVIDIA. I mean, I know NVIDIA kind of has their in-house team. They're a lot, to be honest, they're a lot more technical than AMD. Just from my experience, NVIDIA kind of knows what they're and also they, as a reviewer, I can easily tell them what the bug is. But for AMD, it's a little bit hard to reach their dev team and tell them thing, because I know they changed the thing now. What they did was there was a PR team handling their reviewers, they're seeding their reviewers, and they're not technically as knowledgeable as the NVIDIA guys are. So what happens is, of course, there's a little bit of delay with relaying the kind of the bugs and information that reviewers find. But obviously, AMD is making inroads and kind of increasing their presence in the gaming world. Game.amd.com, that's where you will find all of the kind of AMD's initiative. They actually have that site now has like a lot of the benchmarks and reviewers guide for not just for reviewers but for gamers as well, where they can access that. Of course, that is a long ways away from what I experienced with AMD before, where even the drivers I need were labeled wrong on the official website. So that's good that AMD has stepped up their game and has really dedicated their time to gamers. And of course, so that I don't have no undue prominence, I don't have to follow BBC rules or radio rules that established by Lord Reef himself. But just so that there's no undue prominence, I have to mention NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA. Similar to game.amd.com, they have geforce.com. So they have it's pretty much the same thing, where it has a layout of the latest games and how it performs on certain video card optimization, stuff like that. So that's two sites from two different from AMD and NVIDIA. If you are an NVIDIA or AMD user, you can look at those websites. Again, conspiracies when it comes to these, not much. It's not as bad as people think it is. I know a lot of forums where whenever there's a big major release, the fanboys come out and they just fling shit to each other and to make all these conspiracy theories about AMD stopping this or NVIDIA stopping this, or NVIDIA's forcing reviewers to do this. But the truth is, NVIDIA and AMD have never forced, just me personally as a reviewer, never forced me to benchmark anything that I didn't want to benchmark, and I have never benchmarked anything I didn't want to benchmark. That kind of did not make, that was not fair, that didn't have to be, that wasn't fair in the other one, at least not that I know of. So, again, if you are the kind of user that has a lot of conspiracy theories, just maybe focus the energy somewhere. Maybe there's some truths that you can find, some truths, but definitely not in this part. And that will probably do our show today. That's about, I think I'm about 43 minutes in. Not bad. Next week, hopefully Eric will be back. I will have if not, I could probably get Paul in here. We can talk a little bit of game. Anyway, again, thanks for watching, and more Hawken Keycodes are still available. Game@hightechlegion.com. Just send an email. No requirements at all. Just send an email to that email address, game@hightechlegion.com. Just send us with your email you want, and I will send the beta keycode. I have several hundred left. I'll be sending it out all the way until the beta ends, and also suggestions for the sign off. I don't have a sign off yet. Keep it clean so it's transferable. I think CY to 029's app. I don't have my notes open with me, but thanks for I know him. I see his username all the time, but it's never committed to remember. But he's a very cool guy. He's always responding in our forums. He has some suggestions, and I will discuss it with Eric next time. We'll bring it up. And thanks for watching this episode. I will see you next week. We'll have our top 5. I believe it will be about movies. I didn't discuss it this week, but Wreck-It Ralph is showing in theater, which is a movie that is a Disney movie that is heavily influenced by video games. So I'll discuss that with Eric. I've already told him that our top 5 will be. So he's formulating his top 5. I'm formulating my top 5. So see you next week. And this is Ron, High Tech Legion, just signing out. Thanks for watching. See you next time.